film breakdown video analysis of the Buckeyes against Oregon, and Lance, again, it was an impressive performance, and really they had that game well in hand by the time halftime reached. But we had talked to a couple of things they needed to do, and they certainly checked all the boxes. First thing when we did it as the keys to Ohio State winning, limit chunk plays, and they certainly did. Dylan Gabriel he did not have time.
Well, if you take a look here, so you're going to see the ability to take that middle of the field between the hashes. So a couple of things that they did. So this is a 4th down and 3. They did a really nice job. You can see as the play rewinds a couple times, you're going to see Oregon is going to do a crossing, what we like to call mesh. Everybody runs it at all levels. And basically what you're getting receivers that are crossing each other. These type of routes have hurt the Buckeyes, and they've been great for the Oregon Ducks. Now, the thing that I saw that I really, really liked out of the Buckeyes is, they kind of took what happened in the first one and they said, we're going to fix that, or they're going to have to do something else. And Oregon didn't have an answer. So Caleb Downs, Ransom, they did a great job of dropping into that hole. And you and I have talked about that with what teams are doing to the Browns. And as this play starts, you're going to see right at the bottom of the rows, you're going to see Caleb Downs kind of turn his numbers and look. And what they're doing is they're looking for guys coming in the middle field, crossers, slants, digs, things that Oregon does very well. They didn't have an answer for it. And then they created pressure. But it all started with eliminating these chunk plays. They averaged 14.8 that first meeting, just around 7 in the second meeting. Really outstanding job by the defensive staff at Ohio State.
Yeah, without question. So they cut it in half from 14.8 to 7.3. The other thing, step 2 that you had, create pressure on Gabriel. They definitely did that. He had really no time to throw pretty much all game long.
We're going to see here's great job taking away the crossers, then he has nowhere to go. Now, I will, the scouting report that you and I had discussed was really hit every aspect, but I'll tell you what, I got to give Ohio State's defensive line a lot of credit. In that first meeting when they brought 4, they were unable to create pressure. These guys, this front 4 that has a lot of pros on it, they created a lot of pressure, which made it even harder for Gabriel because then the Buckeyes could cover with 7. So this was super impressive. Oregon had given up 13 sacks all season. They gave up 8. And a lot of those, there were some 5- and 6-man pressures. They did some sim pressures that we had talked about last week. But you got to give a lot of credit to these 4-down linemen from Ohio State. They created pressure, which allowed the secondary to play with 7 and handle all those Oregon Ducks. Again, really well done. They created some matchups. Well done by the Buckeyes and their defensive staff and that defensive line.
Yeah, the other thing they did is they had somebody kind of spying on Gabriel, making sure they didn't allow him to run through the defense. So that I agree with you. That was a great job by the defensive unit. The other thing, it seems so simple when we say it, create touches for Smith. The freshman is a player without question.
Well, if you think about Mbuk, so first thing you get here is they put him up top and they run a little submarine. Everybody has a different call for it. I used to call it submarine, where he's coming underneath the coverage. And what happened is they got caught up in coverage. Now, this next one, you're going to get a couple different angles here. This is actually not a really good read by Will Howard, but I like to throw because players over plays. So you're going to see it from this different angle. You're going to see it's a smash concept. It's a high-low, and you're going to see the corner drop on Smith. But Howard says, I don't care. So you're going to see the motion by tight end, and you're going to see that corner start sprinting towards Smith. So in all honesty, Will Howard should check that down to the underneath route. But I don't blame him from throwing it to a guy. Sometimes you go into Ohio State and he says you win with people, and it's really simple. Sometimes you just got to have your best players touch the ball. You got to force feed those best players. On every call sheet, on every offensive coordinator at every level, there's a touch, meaning there's guys who have to touch the ball regardless. Jeremiah Smith is a generational player. He's a guy who this year I think would be the first pick in the draft, and he just gives you such flexibility, and he's impossible to cover. And Chip Kelly's done a great job of moving him around and putting him in motion and putting him in different spots and different personnel groups. Again, as they move towards Texas, they got to continue. Texas will do a nice job of kind of trying to corral him. They're going to have to do another good job of putting him in different spots. But awesome job by Chip Kelly. Sometimes it's just you just have better players. And as a coach, I never cared about losing to a team that had better players. Ohio State had better players yesterday.
Yeah, and you know what? Remember that is a freshman, so he is about 218 pounds, and they're going to beef him up. And whenever he comes out, he is going to be one heck of an NFL wide. He will continue the tradition and the legacy. Lance, the other thing that steps up, Ohio State has played so much better, and I've seen every college football playoff game from beginning to end. Some of them have been painful. They have played so much better than the rest of the field. If they come out and play like they have the first half of each of these two games, good luck finding a way to beat them.
Well, here's the thing as a coach. So Ryan Day, now everybody gets on Ryan Day. We got to give credit where credit's due. These guys have been well prepared after the Michigan loss. And you and I had talked about it leading up to the Michigan game. They had put such stress on Michigan that impacts how you practice. That impacts how you talk to your players. That impacts how you talk to your coaches, how you prepare, all that stuff. They've played free and easy, and there's no question their roster is as good, most likely better than everybody they play. Now, Texas is going to be a little bit more physical on the defensive side. Their front seven, as I start breaking that film down this morning, their front seven's very, very physical and a ton of NFL talent. The Buckeyes have to stay with what they do. The Buckeyes, they ran the ball really well yesterday, but they ran the ball, as we talked about, because they threw it well early. And when you throw it well early, you loosen that box, and then you can run the ball with your two really good tailbacks. This is a pass-first offense that relies on skill and talent, and then they can get into the run game. That's what they decided to do. They lost that mentality that they had against Michigan, and when they do like they've done, they're a tough out. There's no question.
I'm with you. Get the ball to those guys in space and let the defense try to figure out how to make sure they're not running by them.